Warning, this video is intended for adult collectors. It contains plastic collectibles, questionable opinions, and a man rapidly running out of storage space. It's too late. Random review is about to begin.
Hello everyone. If we've gotten to this point in the top-down reviews, things have gone awry much longer than I expected them to. Yeah, this was basically me going around like, what toy haven't I talked about ever? Well, like what mold haven't I talked about ever that I can just throw out there for a quick review just in case I need to fill that many days for content. And hey, I just happen to have a legacy Skywarp that I haven't talked about at all. So, okay, alright, so we'll talk about the tiny little core class seekers. I have not talked about Starscream, so this is going to be at least a little bit of freshness here on the channel, even if it's a fairly older mold at this point. But yeah, I kind of like my Skywarps, and I like my Seekers, so we're going to go over it. As you can see, it is a rendition of his traditional jet mode, done up very nicely with lots of grooves and sculpted in lines, looking very, very nice. Traditional markings are here. The wing stripe is correct. We have the purple for the tail fins and then black here. And then the intakes. The intakes have been done in silver. Again, traditional, as well as the cockpit done up in a nice bright orange. Paint pretty good on him considering he is a core class. For the sleekness of the jet, obviously, yeah, there is definite underkibble, as jets usually have in Transformers. Hard to knock it, really, because it is just such a common thing. We kind of have to overlook it now. I think it's just the way jets go. But it looks pretty nice, all things considered. I've seen far, far worse. If we look at the back here, no thrusters sculpted in. That would have been nice. So I guess he flies by power of imagination alone, as his just feet hang off the back here. I don't know, we can only assume how Skywarp flies. If we look on the underside, now if you have not experienced this mold before, and you're just looking at this underside, you're going to go, huh, that's weird. And it is. The head's all the way up here. Here's where the top of his torso should be. Here's his torso in the upside down. When I got this in hand for the first time, when I got Starscream, and I flipped this toy over and I looked at it for the time, I thought to myself, like, what happened? How did what? I genuinely couldn't figure out what they were going for or what was going on with this toy. It's strange. It's just strange. So we'll get to that here in a minute. For now, we'll talk about armaments, if you actually want to add some weaponry to your Skywarp. Now, you do have pegs here where null rays could go, or if you feel a little bit spicy, you can put them here instead, if he had null rays. So this is the biggest point of contention to this. Since he came out in Legacy, he didn't get the standard accessories. What he got was this. He got a big slingshot, tuning fork, magnet, top of Armada Megatron's head thing. And I don't think anybody liked this. So the idea was you combine this with Hot Rod and Iguanus's weapons and you get some massive sword. It doesn't look great, and I don't think it was worth denying him his traditional weaponry, especially considering that we know Thundercracker's on the way, and if he comes with his standard null rays, then Skywarp's going to be the odd bot out, which is not fair. But if we do want to equip this on him, for whatever reason, there is a 3mm port underneath the nose cone, so you can have this, whatever this is supposed to do. It's a toy. Use your imagination. I'm not here to do all your work for you. Alright. Transformation. So how does it work? How does it actually function? So I'm going to start by folding up the tail fins like so. Then we go down to the underside and unclip the arms from the underside of the wings. There we go. Okay, and now we get into the magic of the toy. So this splits. So this thing now where like Transformers use those shells to form up, like the vehicle mode shells to form up their robot mode parts. Now they've done it the other way around, where the robot mode has the shell components and it wraps around the vehicle mode in order to make it more solid. Either way, yeah, it's a bizarre take here. All right, so that's going to come later. For now, I got to break this apart and extend this down like so, and then lower the legs. And that should give us the clearance to rotate this whole assembly 180 degrees. That is going to put everything into a far more normal looking configuration. Still have all this to deal with though, so let's go ahead and arrange this like so. This has to go backwards and fold down the back. If I could actually get it to cooperate with me. Come on, come on. There we go. All right, so once that double hinge is set in place, and you can go ahead and flip it to the back. There's a lot of hinges going on here, so it's a lot of little alignments I had to make sure you get right. But there's a little groove in the back, and once you got everything aligned, it should fit right in there and fit flush. Fold up the head as well. That's also on just a row of hinges in order to accommodate everything it can do. And then just close the whole thing up. Snap the whole thing together, and just like magic, we have a Skywarp. All right, just rotate the arms around just to finish it off, and like raise these. Come on. There we go. All right. And that is our tiny little Skywarp. It amazes me. They have been creating this toy. Essentially, they've been making this toy for almost 40 years now. Like the original Starscream, like all the way from the original Starscream, it was still basically the same robot in the same vehicle mode. They've just improved the accuracy. And once the accuracy was completely matched, then they got weird. I'm amazed that after so long, they are still finding new ways of making this robot turn into that jet. That's pretty special, I think. And I think it's a testament to just how imaginative these designers are and just how good the engineers are at figuring out new tricks. And look at this. Okay, he's got a nose cone hanging off his back, but that's really not much worse than the classics mold. You know, in the very least then, it's not attached to his head, so his head is actually free to do other things here. It's a really impressive job at the size, and yeah, it comes off really, really clean. All right, so if you want a close-up, because of course you want a close-up, you know, it's no real surprise. it's the standard Seeker head. Red painted eyes, silver face, looking fine. Nothing too terribly exciting to write home about. I do like how much tech detailing is going in here. You can see like the inside of those intakes have a lot of sculpted designs that kind of emulate the shapes of his original stickers, which is nice. You get those turbines on his chest. That's something that the modern versions of Seekers tend to include. And just like the top of the vehicle mode, there's a lot of tech lines going through, a lot of greeble sculpted in order to give him a much more robotic and assembled look. Really, really nice sculpting going on this toy all around. Yes, the cockpit and the chest is fake, but hey, that just means it gets to look a little bit more accurate than the original. If they hadn't cheated, you know, and I don't really mind that. Proportionally, yeah, he looks pretty spot on. Like everything looks right. The torso slopes down the right direction toward the waist. Nothing looks too thin or thick. It's a pretty commendable job considering they went with a completely new transformation scheme on this design. And, you know, it's still like, it's the core class. Remember, it's Starscream. This came pretty early. so they didn't really have that much experience with it yet. But it still comes out this nice. So, if we get into the articulation level, all right, head does rotate left and right. It's just a standard swivel, so no back and forth on a ball joint. Ball joints do exist, however, in the shoulder, which gives them full range of articulation, as well as an elbow bend and swivel, thanks to the one in there. It is quite tight, though, because the entire forearm is painted, and that paint has made that joint exceptionally tight. Ball joints in the hips give him plenty of range down there. No kind of thigh swivel or anything, because it's a core class. Knee bend close to 90 degree. So, basic 9 points of articulation here. Nothing really exciting or to write home about, but for its size, it can pose decently enough. Now, when you look at this silhouette, when you actually look at the shape of him and start posing him, it really does become obvious just like how much those long guns hanging off the shoulders are just a seeker thing, and how just unnatural he looks without them. Like, it really is like a crime that he did not get his weapons. No, he got this thing. He got a... Jeez. I should only be talking about slingshots if I am talking about wheelie or the aerial bot. Other than that, it does not belong on a transformer. It just doesn't look good. Like, there's nothing like I can mount it this way too. Like, it just doesn't look good. It doesn't look like, there's nothing about this that looks right. You know, it just looks like, it looks like nothing. It looks like it's the wrong accessory. It looks like it came with somebody else, and for some reason Skywarp is the one who picked it up. It's nah. I am right there with everyone else who says, yeah, like they really should figure out some way of getting those null rays in. You remember when Siege Soundwave came out and he had that one little extra gun and like it didn't make sense. It's just like this really weird little tiny like extendable gun that he's not really known to have. And then people figured out, oh, it matches Siege Megatron, so you can have the gun over, like the gun barrel over his shoulder look. Oh, that's what I feel like they need to do. They need to find some figure where they can budget in those 2 null rays so your Skywarp can be complete. It's a long shot, I will admit, but we've seen precedent for it, so I feel like it's something that could be done. Especially if Thundercracker's getting his null rays. If that happens, if this right here is a really nice Skywarp. The sculpt and the engineering and all that, it works really, really well. Get any one of the Seekers at this size class if you want a tiny little Seeker on your desk to goof with. But if Thundercracker comes with his null rays, Skywarp is going to be really, really awkward in the group. Guys, I am facing the most powerful enemy any YouTuber can face, the algorithm, and I need your help to defeat him. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. Every time you do, we attack that algorithm and we drive it back until it can no longer defeat this channel. Thank you very much.